Hey guys, welcome to Dogforge. My name's Paul and welcome back to our overview of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Do you want more Tasha's and D&D content? Then hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to get the latest on 5e. But now it's time to grab your winding key, as today we're going to take a look at the Clockwork Soul Origin for the Sorcerer. Now this is one of two of the new origins we get for the Sorcerer in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, and it is a remarkable step up in one large way that become readily apparent. So the whole basis of this is that you have been affected by the plane of Mechanus, or whatever plane of order is in your setting. So there's a heavy theme of order, consistency, reliability, and tiny adorable robots. So getting in, first thing we have is an expanded spell list for a sorcerer. No, they didn't go back and retroactively do it, and that is bad, and you should definitely do that in your settings. But here we have not only a expanded spell list, which the sorcerer greatly needs, but we also have a really overtuned one, and you'll see what I mean. So you're going to get additional spells that don't count as spells known for you at first, third, fifth, seventh, and ninth level, and those spells are at first level Alarm and Protection from Good and Evil, or Evil and Good. Third level, Aid and Lesser Restoration. Fifth level, Dispel Magic and Protection from Energy. Seventh level, Freedom of Movement and a new spell, Summon Construct. And ninth level, Greater Restoration and Wall of Force. It's a great little addition, very thematic spells overall. And you're probably thinking, well, I don't see anything overtuned about that. But wait, there's more. So not only do you have these spells, you can change them out if you would like. Whenever you gain a sorcerer level, you can replace one spell at a time that you gain from this feature with another spell of the same level. And are you ready for the crazy part? The new spell must be an abjuration or transmutation spell from the sorcerer, warlock, or wizard spell list. So now you get 3 spell lists to choose from as long as you're choosing within those 2 schools. And, there's worse schools to be locked into. So that is a huge bump up, and the stock spell list that you get to begin with isn't even bad. Extending Aid without it even lasting, counting against your spells known is fantastic to begin with. Getting able to swap out Lesser Restoration because disease isn't really a thing in your game, also fantastic. So your DM might have a problem with this. Remember, everything's optional. There's heavy disclaimers in Tasha's, but as always, everything is optional and ultimately up to the DM. Moving on, so next we have a Manifestation of Order, and this is basically just the fluff for how it looks when you cast your spells. So with that, I will just flick down a little bit so you can actually see the artwork we have for our Sorcerer. As you can see, we have clockwork tattoos glowing, eyes glowing, and little tiny spectral modrons. Cute. So they give you a table that you can randomly determine how your spellcasting looks, or you can choose from it, or of course make up your own. So the examples they give are spectral cogwheels hover behind you, the hands of a clock spin in your eyes, your skin glows with a brassy sheen, floating equations and geometric objects overlay your body. Your spellcasting focus temporarily takes the form of a tiny clockwork mechanism. The ticking of gears or ringing of a clock can be heard by you and those affected by your magic. So just a nice little bit of flavour that really helps if you're struggling with how to roleplay this kind of character. Now into our actual first level feature, and that's Restore Balance. Your connection to the plane of absolute order allows you to equalize chaotic moments. So basically, whenever you, within 60 feet, see a creature that has advantage or disadvantage, you can use your reaction to say, no thank you, and make them roll straight. So this works if you're negating an enemy's advantage, or if you're negating a party member's disadvantage. You can do this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and it resets on a long rest. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this feature. I think it makes thematic sense, but off the top of my head, I can't think of another sorcerer feature that is so dependent on an external factor to matter. you do not only get to choose to do this, the situation has to be there for you to choose to do it to begin with. And that doesn't feel very good. And then on top of that, proficiency bonus per long rest doesn't feel like a lot of times to be able to use this. I mean, when you first get this, you'll be able to do this twice a day, and that's the entire benefit you're getting from this, versus a Draconic Sorcerer who permanently has essentially Mage Armor up for free, in addition to knowing Draconic and getting extra hit points. It just feels like this could have been a lot more worthwhile, although I understand as an overall balance picture that the new spells probably have something to do with this. But moving on to our 6th level feature, Bastion of Law. So again, we have more fluff text for how you're justifying this, but basically, as an action, you spend 1 to 5 sorcery points to create a magic ward around yourself or someone else within 30 feet. The ward lasts until a long rest, or until you use the feature again. So there's no actual, there's no restriction on the amount of times you use this feature, as long as you have sorcery points to activate it. And for every sorcery point you spend, the ward is made up of d8s. So if you spend 4 sorcery points, you have 4 d8s. And when the warded creature takes damage, it can expend those dice and roll them and reduce the number by the total on those dice. So, just to clarify, if you do have 4 d8s from this ward and you get hit by damage, you don't have to roll them all, you don't have to roll one at a time, you can choose how many you roll, and there is no reaction cost for either the sorcerer or the warded creature. So this would pair really well, say, if you warded a Goliath, because this damage reduction would also stack with their ability to trigger Stone's Endurance as a reaction. This ability is... I like it and I don't. I think it's very, very sorcery point heavy. I think it would have been nice if they basically gave you a d8 for free, so that 1 sorcery point gave you 2 d8s. As it stands, the only way that you would get any meaningful use of this, in my opinion, is if you completely forewent meta magic, or at the very least, you took the new meta magic feat to bump up your sorcery points so you can still do what sorcerers are meant to do. Again, it's very, very good and bad. I just feel like it could have been improved a little bit. And on to our 14th level feature, Trance of Order. As a bonus action, you can enter a special state for 1 minute. During this minute, attack rolls against you cannot benefit from advantage, and whenever you make an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, you treat a roll of a 9 or lower on the d20 as a 10. Once you use this bonus action, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, or until you spend 5 sorcery points to do it again. This is an absolutely fantastic ability. We have a couple of origins where at this point you get wings at will, and that's neat, but a bonus action, a Super Saiyan form where you can, treat everything as a 10 is really significant, and I'm gonna guess, gut feeling, very abusable potentially. I mean, at this level you should have a +5 charisma anyway, so you're looking at what, like a 19, no, probably 20? No, 19 to hit automatically. And that's only if you roll a 9 or a lower. On average, you're going to be hitting whatever you want. You're going to be saving against pretty much everything. It's a really fantastic ability, and 5 sorcery points comes out to about a 3rd level spell, and that feels like about a right amount of cost to trigger this ability again. Very happy with this ability. Moving on to our final ability of the Clockwork Soul, we have Clockwork Cavalcade. And the thing I like most about this ability is that I find the word cavalcade quite fun to say. Cavalcade. So, basically with this ability, you summon a whole bunch of spirits. Let's be honest, you summon a Modron match of your own. And the spirits affect a 30-foot cube originating from you. The spirits look like Modrons or other constructs of your choice. They're intangible and invulnerable, and they create the following effects. The spirits restore 100 hit points divided as you choose among a number of creatures of your choice in the cube. Any objects damaged are entirely repaired instantly. The object does have to be entirely within the cube to be affected though. And every spell of 6th level or lower ends on creatures and objects of your choice within the cube. So this is kind of like a souped up support ability. And to be honest, it feels mostly out of place. I don't understand where this giant heal is suddenly coming from. This has most definitely overall been a support sorcerer, and I completely agree with that. It just kind of feels like, you know, dumping 100 hit points as your ultimate ability is a little off. It's not a bad ability. You can do this once per long rest, or you can do it again if you spend 7 sorcery points. Unless it's a TPK kind of situation, I don't know if I would spend 7 sorcery points to do this again. I also don't know if I played a game that went this high, I would keep with the Clockwork Soul this long, to be honest. But again, like you might find these abilities really to your liking. Personally, I think that this subclass is hit and miss. But there's certainly a lot of good to work with here, and that spell list that you can swap spells out with, there's certainly a lot of potential there. But again, that's just my ramblings. What do you think about the Clockwork Soul Sorcerer? Let us know in the comment section down below, and hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Whilst you're there, hit that subscribe button and notification bell for more D&D and Tasha's content, or click one of those little boxes appearing on screen right now to get your D&D fix straight away. My name's Paul, and I'll see you next time at the Forge.